Well, Betsy, I think I would encourage them to be a certified crop advisor because it adds some credibility within the industry, so they're getting exposure to others. And I think it also demonstrates to an employer or perhaps to farmers that they took the time to study, prepare for, pass a test, and become competent in nutrient management, pest management, soil and water management, and crop production, as well as sign a code of ethics. So I think it establishes credibility for someone coming in the marketplace to become a certified crop advisor. Well, I think I'd ask that farmer how their landlords selected them to farm their farms. And I imagine that was based a little bit on the credibility, their reputation, and their innovation, staying up with new traits and technology. And that's a little bit like a certified crop advisor. They are able to go to pass exams. They've been trained in different areas. They're going to continue education. And I think they're going to be more rounded in their recommendations. And as farming is getting more complex today, they're wanting to work with individuals who then give them good, sound recommendations and is credible. Yeah, Betsy, I was on actually a call just recently, and a farmer had been working with another individual, and he had been soil testing with them. They were providing recommendations. The farmer really didn't know what the philosophy was in terms of making the recommendations, and then we had the opportunity to go in and make recommendations and explain the difference in philosophies. And that farmer is ultimately the one making the decisions, but we were explaining him different options. As it turns out, he had been over applying fertilizer, and so we were able to not only keep him on a sound track in terms of yield, but also save him some fertilizer when it was pretty tight times right now. I just think personally, it's just a sense of accomplishment, I think, and then it's just been a good way to interact with others in the organization. So I think it's just been good personally from that standpoint. Well, back in the late 1990s, there was a little bit of a concern about some of the regulation and who was going to be able to make recommendations for production. As it turns out, that didn't quite go that way, but I decided to become a CCA because I think of the credibility that it may be added into the marketplace, that you're willing to take an exam, study, be trained and competent in different areas. And then after becoming a CCA, I thought there was value in the continuing education, that you encourage you to go to conferences, encourage you to go to training, to stay up with what's going on in the industry. So I think the Indiana CCA conference is one of the premier events in the Midwest, and it's really designed to bring in some of the top speakers that are researching their fields. And so that information is given to us, that we're able to take that to the farm gate and be able to give good, solid recommendations on the farm. Personally, I think it's just being a part of a bigger organization. So I think there's not very many individuals that are directly related to production agriculture today. So I think that presence of the whole organization, where we have a presence in Washington explaining to non-farm community what we do, is very important. And then personally, I like going to the CCA conference. I think there's a lot of good information, and it kind of encourages you to stay up with the latest technology and training. And also interact with your peers who are also making recommendations. Well, I would kind of ask them as a farmer, does a landlord, what do they look for in a farmer? So obviously a landlord would look for a farmer that has some credibility, that would have a good reputation, and also would be credible. And keeping up on technology. And I think if I were a farmer, I would want to be working with a certified crop advisor who they know is going to education seminars. They're becoming certified, and they sign a code of ethics, so they should have sound judgments with it. So if you have a choice between someone who isn't and who's not, I think a certified crop advisor that has that training, that education, they know they're staying in the marketplace with the latest technology and advancements, would be someone that would want to work with. I like the not only information but the opportunity to network with some of the other crop advisors in the state. So it's kind of you come back year after year and you get to meet acquaintances again that you may not have seen over the year and be able to find out what was happening in their area. And so it's always a good opportunity to catch up on what's going on and kind of learn from them also.